our audience joining us. It's always tricky with events. The time is always not on our side. So, colleagues, as we then proceed, what we will then do, we are going to be strict in terms of time. It's something that I didn't add on our ground rules. We're just going to allow our panelist members at least 3 minutes each on a point. I know you'd love to learn more and get more insight from them, but due to time, we'll just limit them into 3 minutes. Don't mind me whenever I interject them. I will then apologize to them for interjecting, of course. But yeah, time is always the essence, and we know that we all being tested on time in everything that we do. Okay, so with that then being said, colleagues, thank you very much for coming back. We truly appreciate your time once again for continuing with us with this event, and then so that we can conclude it. In my mind and thinking, I will want to be strict to complete it at then 12, so that we can then have our lunch if we want to go by from the canteen, and then we can have that networking with our panelist members, and then I can let you be free for the rest of the day. Okay. I think now that we've learned about the process of transitioning from employment to becoming your own entrepreneurship, we've also discussed in terms of financial preparation, right? In terms of how to prepare yourself financially. Since we have bills, there are debts that we always pay, right? To indulge on that. Now, I think the question will now come in terms of, yes, now I've gotten the knowledge in terms of transitioning. Now I want to know, how do I start compiling in terms of a viable business model that will make a difference within the industry, right? I think then my question that I will impose to our panelist members, I think I can take 2 or 3 of them, just for 3 minutes each, in terms of what are the essential elements of a business plan that your typical investors, your investor could be any person, being like your angel investor, being your family, friend, and so forth, that are investing in your business. What are the things that essentially that they are typically looking at, right? What are some of the tips that our panelist members can give us in terms of making a business plan that stands out, that investors can look in terms of assisting us with securing that funding, whether through angel investors, whether through friends, and so forth? Panelist members, any of you in terms of the tips that you can share with us?
Thank you. I was fortunate the mic is next to me, so I'll start. Yeah. I'm not from a financial background, but for me, finances are very key. Whatever you do, whatever you write, don't just assume and conclude that it's a correct information. If you give me the pricing or you give me the value of the business, make sure that it's a correct value. Because that is where most of the funders, even investors, they go to. Your story, they know already. They know already. You know, when it comes to investors, some of them may identify your business without you selling it and say, I want to buy your business. And you wonder, what did they see in this business? The story doesn't matter that much. No matter how good you can write it, the investor already have their own story. It's like a chess player. They already made their move. They know what exactly they want from that business. What's important is make sure your numbers tally. Do the right evaluation of your business. If you don't know how, consult to say, how do I determine the value of my business or an idea? Imagine you've got an idea that is worth 5 million, but you just ask for 100,000. Oh no, we are looking for 100,000. And then the investor starts to ask you, don't you need a car? Oh yes, that will cost us 500,000. Oh yes, don't you need an office space? Oh yeah, your IT. How much is the IT? 1 million, 500,000. So you need to do all the costing, follow all the rents and cents and everything. If your projection goes to 5 million, right, stick with that. But you need to break it down now and say, okay, for us to get started, we can start with 700,000. And in 6 months' time, we are anticipating that we can make profit and be able to build it up to a 5 million. But also, the importance of determining the correct is that when you sell shares and you say to a person and say, I'm giving you 10% of my business, you know already that 10% is worth 500,000. And then you can negotiate and say, listen, for 500,000, instead of giving you 10%, I'm giving you 30% of my business. But you have already given the value. So you are giving it at a discount, but you understand the value of your business. Thank you.
All right, I think for me, it's really important to understand the different types of funds that are available out there. And because now we are talking about transitioning from employment to entrepreneurship, I would think it should be around startup. It's a startup fund. And then there are funds for scaling. But then there are different sources of those funds. Banks, they do funding, government agencies, they do funding. So you really need to understand the funding landscape first of all, so that you are able then to put together a great business plan that can speak to that. I just want to say that from a startup point of view, there's this concept that you don't need actually funding to start your business. It's probably right, because you spoke about maxing your credit card so that no one touches you. I don't know whether that was the concept, to say max paying credit so that nobody touches you. I'll come to that point now. But it is important that you create a product or service of value. Earlier on, I spoke about, for me, I had that one deal from a client that I was going to service. So for me, I see that as one of the sources of funding. But I think we work with a lot of companies who are funding, small businesses. And I was attending a conference on Thursday where these issues we were talking about, actually about funding. And there's this concept of being funding ready. And a lot of small businesses, entrepreneurs, they are not funding ready. Simple things such as you need to be compliant. You need to understand the space that you are going in. You need to make sure that you comply with all the government agencies. SARS, for example, is one of the biggest. If you are not compliant with SARS, no one is going to be able to fund your business. There is regulation that affect different sectors. You need to make sure that you comply with that. Small things, I've seen like lots of administrative documents that are required in funding. Whether people want a SIPS document, they want a COIDA, a statement, and a lot of SMEs, they don't have that. And you are not going, so that's a non-starter. If you are not complying, it's a non-starter. Forget about getting funding. And then we come to some, if you work with banks, they do credit rating. The issue of credit cards. I'm sure, Pam, you'll agree with me that financials are very important, because you're an entrepreneur, your personal finances are linked to your business finances. Someone was making an example to say, if you have a 99 Rand debit order bouncing, what are the chances of an institution giving you 100,000? How are you going to manage that? So it's very important that you manage what is called your credit profile. As a person, because this is linked to your business. And the business itself, it has its own credit profile. Understand that element. Pam is an accountant. If you go out and look for funding, they will need your books. Show us your financials. Financials that have been produced or prepared by a qualified person, in this case a professional accountant. They want to see how you've been managing your finances over time. If you do not have that, I can tell you now, it's going to be difficult for you to convince them for funding. But at a startup level, they are very lenient. What they will look at the idea itself, then they will look at the projections in terms of your forecasting, in terms of are you going to make money out of this? Actually, is this a real business idea? And if the numbers do not make sense, they are not going to fund that. That's where you then sit down with someone who is an expert, like a financial planner, advisor, a business coach, to look at your business and assist you in terms of taking it forward, so that you qualify. And of course, it does not mean that now that you are compliant, you've got financial projections, you'll get the funding. That's the reality. And it's important that you ask whoever is funding you, why didn't I get the funding? Banele here is in marketing. There is that concept of your business and value and impact, where they look at that. They don't look at the numbers, but were you able to sell your business very well? Is it going to bring us the results? Is it aligned to what we are doing as a funder at that particular point in time? So I thought for me, I just wanted to touch on the funding ready aspect.
Thank you so much, Mr. Savelo. I'm sorry to cut you there. I'll have to take one speaker then. I'll take one speaker then on the topic, then we will move to the next.
All right. Just a quick one. I would like to share.
You can put your mic closer.
Yeah, if it's a tip that I can share with you. I'm again saying try and stay away from this funding. It's going to consume you. Try and set up your business plan, everything as if you bootstrap. You're not going to be needing funding. If it does come, cherry on top, you're good to go. I've got a friend, one or two, that have been sick, working on this funding thing, polishing your business plan, filling forms. We'll call you, we'll have meetings, we'll have this, and it's just this, it consumes you. That's one. Another one, I don't know if they're listening to us here. Bank. The way credit works, it's a flow, not a stock. It's what goes in, and it's this. And at the bank, it's for certain amounts, it's not a human that is sitting there determining how much you're getting. It's a system. So then you find out, what does that system want to see? What lipstick must I have? What brows? What mascara? When you paint yourself, you do that, the system will give. The system is programmed. If this is red, if this is green, if this is this, offer this. Personally, you have seen it. Again, business as well. So that's how it works. So you can, once you start trading, and then you will see banks will start offering overdrafts, credit cards, slowly. And you work that way.
Luyanda, we are talking about finances. There's no way I'm not going to say two things. I won't be long, I promise. So you want somebody to invest in your business. Firstly, would you invest in your business? Right? If you want me to bring money, put 100,000 into your business, and then when I look at your bank statements, I'm seeing Steers, McDonald's, why would I trust you with my money if you are not even managing your money correctly? So make sure that your personal expenses are not going through your business account, or nobody is going to invest in you. That's the first thing. The second thing is, you as a business owner, you need to know your numbers. That's a fact. I'm not going to give you R1 million, and when I ask you what were your sales, you're like, what sales? I can't trust you. You need to understand that this game you said you wanted to play, there's certain lingo that's involved, so that I can trust you to say, if I invest in you, you will know how to manage the finances of the company. You can have an accountant in your organization, but you as the business owner need to know your numbers. There is a lot of material online. We also offer free webinars whereby we are helping small businesses to learn their numbers, how to read financial statements. You can't say you're a business owner and you don't know how to read financial statements. How are you going to take those financial statements to an investor and the investor is going to say, how much are you spending on marketing? And you're like, I don't know. You know, that doesn't build confidence in any investors if you are not comfortable with the reports. And the numbers are telling a story. They are telling a story. Numbers don't lie. It's a fact. If you are making losses, you are making losses. Okay, sharp. What do we need to do now in order to start making sales? How much investment is going to be required from me as an investor to help you start moving towards the sales? So you need to know your numbers, and there's a lot of material online to help you get comfortable with your numbers. You can't say, I don't know, I'm uncomfortable with numbers, numbers scare me. Not in this game you said you wanted to play.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I think numbers, as they are saying, numbers don't lie. I think question that we'll move forward with now, and I would like maybe to open up to the panelist members that have not addressed now some of the questions. I think we want to look at in terms of managing risks and doing risk assessments. You know, what are some of the most significant risks that you guys as entrepreneurs have faced, and how did you manage to mitigate some of those risks?
It has to be finance. Yeah, finance was the biggest one. Because in as much as we are encouraged to start businesses and do everything, the system sometimes, I would think, feels a bit archaic in the way it's actually done or it's set up, where I take the risk and be as it may, let's say the business fails. Like, let's be clear. Just because you started a business doesn't mean you're going to make it. And you might only make it in the third or fourth business. Then your credit score at that time, because now you've accumulated debt, certain things you had to pay for. So you were not paying as well as you could have had you actually had the funds coming in because the business failed. That risk you take there is where you know that there's a high chance that your credit score will be so low. It's not even funny. It's a possibility, not a probability, but a possibility. That was the first biggest risk. And waking up, I think for me, when reality hit was the first month I had to experience the 27th, because I used to get paid on the 27th. 27th came, but not the SMS. That was a reality check. To say, okay, now it's all on me. Get ready for that. You're starting every month almost at a zero. And I say almost because there are a number of ways where you actually mitigate the risk. And I'll take you through my story now. The first 2 months, I was fortunate enough to already have had secured about two or so retainers. Because I made a decision the month before the final month. So like I did a 3-month, what do you call it again? But basically I resigned and I said I'm giving 3 months. And then on the second month, what I did was I secured about two retainers, because I had done some quick math to know I need X amount of rands to pay for the necessities of my life. And fortunately enough, I worked hard enough to get those retainers. And when I got those retainers, I knew that, okay, I'm starting at zero, which means the basics which I need paid for me to still live at least. You can't be extravagant at the beginning, guys. It doesn't work like that. In fact, you're never really extravagant. It only starts happening about year 2, 3. So get ready for that. That's a risk that you take. And it's an oath you need to hold yourself. There'll be times where you're up But trust me, there'll be times when you're down.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shabalala. Mr. Stem, do you want to?
Yeah, for me, the risk that is still the same even today is the sustainability of my business model. This is huge. Remember, I'm in the business where you have to make yourself available. So if I coach you and you say, I want you to also coach my fellow executives, I just cannot, because in terms of my capacity as executive coach, because I have to be there and doing it physically myself. So how I actually mitigated that is collaboration. But the starting point is really what informs my business model. You know, so collaboration in terms of business partners, coaches, we collaborate quite a lot. The risk with that, of course, is if you are, in terms of your funding of your business model, you're not disciplined in terms of reinvesting the money that you're actually getting from your customers. You have a problem of also then financing that capacity. So that's one thing I think of all the time. So I like the business model canvas. I think you at the business school, you probably know that model. 4 elements of that model that really every night I think of is the customer relations, because that's where I get the business for my fellow coaches. And then secondly, my fellow coaches as partners, or we call them providers of co-providers. Are they available? Are they aligned with me? Can I afford them? And then, of course, the cost structure, as I mentioned. And I think I've mentioned the fact that when it comes to finances, the discipline to reinvest your money into the business so that you can actually circulate. And the metric that is very critical for us in our type of business, as you said, is a pipeline. So when you work on the business right now, you can't be celebrating that I've got the business in the pocket. You need to worry about the succession business. And I always say that the business that's already in the pocket is a dead business. So I don't celebrate invoicing because it's a dead business. I celebrate being called forward to come and discuss value proposition and get the promise that we might just need you. That's what I really use to sustain the sustainability of my business model. And that's a huge risk. Many of us as consultants, we find ourselves in a tight corner because, again, the funding model of ways financed by customers doesn't lie.
Thanks, Mr. Stem.
So sustainability is the biggest risk.
Thank you so much. I'll just take one comment then from Mr. Bernard. He's pending to to share something.
I felt like maybe be nice and share this one. Risks come when things go bad. And you don't know when things will go bad. It can be 10, 15 years later. So the risks are your contracts that you sign, your lease agreements, because when then it goes bad, your personal sureties that you sign. Actually I'm going through one now. When things go bad, they come for you. So one advice, the ones that are probably young, invest the money now, marry out of community or property, no accrual. No, it's not even because of your partner. You can hide, you can push there. Family trust. It's expensive, but maybe save now, before. Then you go into battle. You feel like Chuck Norris because you know they can't come for you. Because if they do, they'll come for your business, you sign surety, then it's you. This is why you see most, when things go bad, you hear they've lost everything. That's why.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bernard. With that then being said, colleagues, with every entrepreneurial journey, we're likely to fail, whether small or whether big, right? How do one deal with failure, and how does one then approach it and learn from that particular failure? I'll then take maybe two people. I see Mr. Derek wants to first then share.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I'm trying to think how many businesses did I start and failed on. But again, I realized that some of them I did not fail. I quit. And maybe I started it at the wrong time. But what for me comes across, Luyanda, is that sometimes we fail in business because we did not start right. And we did not communicate right. And when I say right, I'm referring to you need to be transparent to your family. If you're married or you have a partner, don't just do things underground. Don't try to start business underground. Because without a family support, you can still fail. Because there will come a time where your business has grown to a point where you need to relocate or to move to another province. And your family says no. You have to sell the house and tell your family, we need to now to look for a property in Cape Town because that's where I got a bigger client and I'm going to service this client for 3 years or so. And your wife tells you, I can't move my mother there, I can't move my children there, so forget about it. But if you prepared your family, if you prepared everybody around you, so you need to anticipate, you need to predict. Don't just start a business on a success story. Think about the failure story that can come in 3 years' time. And now, prepare yourself to say, how can I mitigate that? You already know by now that if I move the queen, I'm going to lose this game. I think today I'm following the story of a chess. If I move this pawn, if I move bishop, I'm going to lose this game. But for me not to lose, or if I sacrifice the bishop, can I still win? Yes, I can. Let me sacrifice. So if you do proper calculations, consultation with your family, consultation with your advisors, consultation with your lawyers, everybody involved, you will be able to say, even if I fail, because some of the businesses that you fail in, they are the businesses you should have sold or wound down. But they fail because you hang on to something that was not going to succeed anyway. So you need to always, how do you deal with that? Always do a strategic session with yourself and with your business and review to say, am I still on the right track? Do I need to review certain things to realign myself going forward? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shabalala?
So, your currency is your reputation when you're an entrepreneur. And every single thing that you do comes back to you, especially at starting phase. Because when people buy into whatever you are putting across, they're actually buying into you. And the mentality that you need in order for you to actually overcome the challenges is the mentality of saying everything that I do might work, might not work. But it's a matter of saying, how do I fail forward? Because failure is part of it, but it's not really failure, it's actually a lesson. Because when you're starting again, you're no longer starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. And the funny part is, I look across here, there's actually a lovely saying here. It says, change your thoughts and you will change your life. So how you view it is very, very important. The only way to overcome a challenge is to actually go through it. You literally have to go through it. Because if you think about it, even diamonds are formed under pressure. They had to go through a lot of immense pressure, a lot of heat, water running through. The entire it's a process. You don't just get the diamond from day one. So keep that in mind, but mitigate risk. Wherever you can, mitigate risk. Do the research, ask the questions. And when you're not sure, say you're not sure. You might actually find somebody putting their hand up and being very honest with you and telling you what they went through, so that becomes a lesson which you don't have to go through yourself. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think this is a thorny one. And my approach to it is that I always say there are entrepreneurship challenges and then entrepreneur challenges. Entrepreneur, I look at them as they are specific to individuals, and the entrepreneurship one, they are generic, we all know them. And I always say that there is always a relationship between the person and the entrepreneurship journey. And my starting point is, as we are starting out, live within your means. Because we have seen a lot of entrepreneurs starting businesses, and then what do? They get the first purchase order number. Even before the money gets paid, you'll see them starting living lavishly. And that is a serious, serious challenge that will affect your business going forward should things do not go right. So live within your means. As an entrepreneur, make sure that you live within your means, because there is a direct relationship between what you do and how you drive your business. And again, I'm basing this at this level of transitioning from employment to entrepreneurship. And some of the challenges that we face is around your cash flow. Cash flow is king for an entrepreneur or for a small business. Without cash flow, you are not going to run a sustainable business, as Ntate said. It's very important that you manage your cash flow. You must be as stingy as possible. You must use the money for its intended purpose. You have families and you want to show up. Be broke. Don't have money at all when people want money and people think you have money. Be a minimalist. Remember, you are growing a brand here, something that will outlive you. So I think I just wanted to deposit that. Of course, once you start running the entity, there are so many, I think you've touched on them. Now you've got the rent, you've got the staff that you have to deal with on a monthly basis, that you have to overcome those challenges. Forget about legislation that we have, but at a basic level, just live within your means, make sure that you manage yourself very well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sabelo, for the deposit. The cash has been received on my bank account successfully. Thank you for that. I think with all these challenges and all these risks that we are then facing, one then needs to check in terms of their well-being and their mental health, How do we then manage the stress levels that come with entrepreneurship, as well as maintain the work balance, while running this own organization and while also having this entrepreneurship journey? How do we then balance that work life, because entrepreneurs out there, they will still want to work late, and now it affects the relationship at home as well with the families. No time for children, no time for their spousal. I would allow Mr. Sam to then come in. I see he's eager to also put in some deposit into my account.
Yeah, you know why I want to address this upfront, and he understands that. That's why I do the work I do. It's very lonely out there, and that's when coaches become the partner of your journey. And I'm not talking about when you have a problem and then you engage a coach and then you think you are done and then you go and then forget about the coach. And I might be sounding like I'm sailing, but this is a fact. All these great leaders globally, if you have the opportunity to sit with them, you'll find that they've got more than 5 coaches. The reason why you don't know them is because our job is very confidential. We don't go around telling people that I coach so-and-so. And people who are being coached, they don't go around telling people that Mr. Zima is my coach, because it's a very special kind of partnership. Because this thinking that you have to know everything is wrong. And that's why you have a lot of wellness issues, not only for entrepreneurs, but in businesses in general. Complexities that you deal with, you start experiencing problems because you are not coping emotionally. So the advice I can give to everybody, and I think I'm privileged to be doing work in a job that I think is my calling. That is very, very important, because the job that is aligned with your life purpose will never, ever really create that kind of problems when it comes to wellness. And if you happen to be in a job that is not your calling and you really have to do it and you are overwhelmed, it's very important to have a coach next to you, even if you don't meet them every month. Somebody that can actually ask you the type of question that will make you think very seriously about what you are doing to your health. Because it's tough, you know. And I'm talking from experience, because while I'm a coach, I'm also an entrepreneur. You are not going to be able to switch off when things are not happening. And a coach will help you to realize and create the highest level of consciousness. You know, and this thing of life purpose, I know people say, you know, what is that? It's really, if you have, we all have life purposes, we just haven't discovered them. When in 2008, I decided to go on business, was because ideally, I was very accomplished. I could basically enjoy my salary, but I was not happy. When my so-called goal, it became clear that it's not going to be achieved. And I found myself misaligned and struggling to wake up to go to work. It was August in 2008. I took a decision that I've been chasing something that's not my life purpose. My life purpose is to really to accompany people on their professional journey, sitting with them, helping people to develop their talent. I took a decision in August 2008. 1st of July, I was out of corporate because I had identified what I'm actually about, and I never looked back. I've been coaching since 2010. I coach almost every second day, executives and CEOs. And I can tell you, when you realize that the power is inside you, but for you to access it, you need somebody that is going to look at you from outside and ask you pertinent questions that you don't want to answer. And that can only be done by coaches. And it's not mentoring. Don't confuse the two. Mentoring is something different. A coach is somebody who sits there, is very much interested in your own journey, will ask you questions you wouldn't want to be asked, and will hold a mirror and make you see things you didn't want to see. And then you will find out yourself that I'm actually crumbling emotionally. And that is the work of a coach. So you need to have somebody. You cannot live your life alone and hope that your intelligence will help you to solve your health problems. It's tough out there. Don't take it for granted. The issues of, in fact, COVID has brought these things up. Because it was okay for everybody to say, I'm struggling during COVID, it wasn't seen as a weakness. Since then, coaching has just shot up like this. Because companies are now realizing that they'll hire you and they'll give you a coach immediately. They say, it's for you. So that is really a pitch I want to do. And lastly, I want to, and allow me, please, I don't overindulge, and I'm not selling, I brought this book of mine that I wrote. When I wrote this book, I launched it in 2003. It says Holistic Career Development, Coaching and Mentoring. You think you're going to read about coaching. This is my journey looked at backward. And I found that it's all about my transitions from the beginning to where I am today. I found that almost all the mistakes I did here was that when I was transitioning without a proper coaching and mentoring. If I was to do it again, I will never ever do any transition without coach, because this has shown me that I could have become better had I had a coach and mentor all along. And yet I never really failed. But when I look at it, the mistakes that I did were very costly. And if it was this time, because this was in the 80s when I started my career, if it was now, I will crash because the situation has changed. It's very complex. So we say to people, go and do a career. We don't tell them that the answers are not lying with you. The answers are lying with the help that you need to have. So that is really the little insight I want to bring in to say, get the coach.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sam.
Okay.
I will then take 5 minutes from you, Mr. Derek, and then I will come to Mr. Bernard. Then we can close this.
Thank you. No, I just used the privilege because the mic is passing through me, so I had to. You said something very powerful, sir, to say there is confidentiality, you know. Strange enough that in this room, there can be 3 or 4 people that I know that I'm mentoring, but I will never, ever mention them and say, stand up. Yeah, you see that one is, I'm not selling. You see that one? Yeah, tell them how prosperous you are, how your business is. No, it's not my duty. If they testify, let them testify. But if they keep quiet, let them keep quiet. But I need to keep confidentiality, but also for their comfort. Because they don't want to be paraded, people. That's not how it should be. But coming to the question of the mental strength, there are moments where you wake up, even if you're still employed, there are moments where you wake up, you don't feel like going to work. And there are moments where you wake up and you feel like crying. There are moments where you wake up, you feel like inspired and jumping and all that. There is a secret in that. We need to understand that in as much as we feed our body, we need to feed our soul. You need to feed your spirit. Either you pray, either you watch videos that will motivate you, but do something about your spirit. Don't just think that you will survive without prayer. Whoever you pray, whatever you pray, keep on praying. Whatever you listen to, what motivates you. I pray to God. I take time every morning. Because when I wake up, I know the challenges I'm going to face out there. But there is this mantra that I always tell myself that, you know what? If a radio DJ can wake up every morning and say, good morning, South Africa, after being in the bar for the whole night, or after when you wake up, you hear the story that this person was beaten up and all that, this person is facing, the house is being sold and all that. But in the morning, they can say to you, good morning, South Africa. And when they wake up, when they leave the station, they go and face their challenges. Face your challenges, but don't let them affect your business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Derek.
All right. Actually mentioned that I'm a master athlete.
Put it closer.
Okay. Sports people, you might have noticed they have coaches. You remember Wade van Niekerk, his coach was an old woman. She can't teach him how to run. But, you know, he had that coach. So what coaches do, obviously they work with you from different angles and all of that mentally to assist you. But the one thing is that coaches are expensive. At one point I was paying 10,000 a month to meet like once or twice a month with a coach. So obviously starting, it's not an easy thing. However, there is this concept which I mentioned earlier, the personal advisory board. That is something that with your peers or industry peers that you can set up, even people who are outside your industry from various disciplines. I'm lucky, I've got, some are even overseas, I've got NLP practitioners where when I have a mental block, I'll log into a Teams meeting and we'll go through and they will try to, she will try to unlock that mental block. So yeah, coaches are expensive, but you can try this. Even those that are religious, even pastors, you can form this board of people. Some can help you with your home, your personal side. Some can help you with your business and the like. But it's advisable to always have people around you that can sort of hold you.
Thank you very much. I'll then end with Ms. Pam.
Okay, so I just want to say mental health is very important, and we take it for granted. You must remember that you are your business. When you are not okay, your business will be affected, and I'll tell you why. How you see challenges is different when mentally you're not okay. You will see a challenge, but when you're okay mentally, you will see an opportunity. So your mental health is something that you have to prioritize. I meditate every morning. Well, not every morning. I aspire to it being every morning because, like the panelist says, there's a lot of challenges in entrepreneurship. If I am centered when I start my morning, when challenges come to me, I view them differently. So having something you believe in that is higher than you. Remember, entrepreneurship is, in a sense, a calling. So something within you drove you to it. Trust that thing. For me, it's through meditation. Other people, it's through prayer. Whatever works for you. Leaning on other people is important. If you have an established business whereby you have team members, use them. Help you carry the load so that it's not all on you. And I have a lot of sister wives. Okay, my husband, there's only me as a wife, but I have a lot of sister wives. A lot. From the lady who helps me when I get home to make sure that my house is clean and there's food ready, to the people that are looking after my children. They're helping me to be better so that I can focus on running the business. So lean on other people to support you. You might have friends. I have a group of friends. Every morning we check in to say, okay, gratitude list. That helps with my mental state. So make sure you have a support system, and it does not only have to be within your family. You can reach out to friends. I also work with other accountants who are running their own accounting firms. They are no longer my competitors. We share the struggles. When I'm saying I'm struggling with this, SARS said this, have you guys heard? You know, I have other people that I'm reaching out to. Again, it's all in line with helping me with my mental health. So lean on other people to help you, but do not take mental health for granted, because when you are not okay, your business will feel it one way or the other.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, it's 11:56. I will open up for questions then. We'll have 14 minutes for Q&A session. I would also love to hear from our esteemed audience in terms of critiquing some of the thoughts, some of the discussions that we had here. Can we have a mic that will be on the floor? And then I will take this mic to the panelist members. Do we have any two first questions? Do we have another person after the gentleman? Okay, there is a lady at the back then.
1, 2. Well, thank you so much, guys, to Regenesis for such a great opportunity. Of course, my name is Karabo Siduma, one of the co-founders of ePocket. I'm not alone. I'm joined also by my CEO, Mpotlape, there in front, also the colleague, Mr. Molo there. So we're in the business of we're in a fintech space, trying to actually, bringing a revolution to, bringing a revolution for businesses in the township and rural communities to ensure that we can have a seamless, cashless process. I think one of the speakers did mention that we need to have our customers becoming our funders. So I'm trying, as I sit here, I'm in a mind-boggling to see how can I, in a fintech space, how can I then get my customers to become our funders? Because like we're not selling a something that you can see physically. We're selling a technology. Visa, if I had a phone, it's easy for me to sell a phone to ask somebody to pay for it before it can get delivered. However, in this case, we're in a tech space where we sell you something that you don't see, but it is there to make your life, to make a difference. So how can we, perhaps we need how can we then get customers to sell, to become our funders in the fintech space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's take the second question.
All right, hi, good afternoon. My name is Sinovuyo. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I don't do well with public speaking, but I'm gonna try my best. So I do have a registered business of my own. It started as Trial and Error. I'm actually wearing the t-shirt right now. So it started as a clothing brand, and I'm looking to go into tech, focused in Africa, because I do see that there's a big gap there where you see big countries like the UAE trying to invest into tech in Africa. So I'm trying to jump on that bandwagon while it's still fresh. So my question is, realistically speaking, and I don't know if any of the panelists are investors, but realistically speaking, how easy is it, or how accessible is funding for startups, especially looking in industries like tech, because they need a lot of funding? So that's the first question. How would you say, how accessible is funding for startups? And then secondly, would you say that there is an unconscious bias towards people who are in startups or startup owners? Because say now I come as a 26-year-old and I'm selling this idea, but when you look at my background, I don't really have any background when it comes to like tech or anything, but maybe the idea seems like it could be viable. So would you, from your perspective, would you say that there is like an unconscious bias towards people based on the age? Yeah, I hope that was clear. Thank you.
Karabo, we had a lady there on a bomber jacket at the back. Sorry about that. I didn't want it to miss you.
I am taken aback by that statement.
Apologies. You didn't raise your hand, so that's why they had to skip you. So I didn't want it to pass you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mbali. I also do have a registered business. It's turning 2 years in October. I'm in IT consulting. There was a mention about brand development. I have intentionally, I have intentionally avoided building the brand, and I had my reasons, because I felt that I needed to establish myself, because there were other bigger businesses in the industry that I feel that if I actually had to make an appearance, they would maybe eat me up alive. What would you say in that instance? It is an intentional decision that I don't have any social media presence. I don't have any presence whatsoever, mainly because I just wanted to collect the accolades before I can actually go out there and start advertising myself. Would you say that's a good or bad thing for my business? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll allow the panelist members then to address some of the questions. They can choose which one they want to start with. Mr. Derek.
Yo. Karabo, I'll just be straightforward, sir. I went to Google yesterday, and it told me that I have reached my storage limit. And I had to delete most of the emails. But guess what? It offered me and said, you can pay 8 rand per month to increase your space. Google, what is saying is that we need your money to sustain our business. How do they do that? They offer me a discount. But their price, you find that it was 36 rand or somewhere there per month or so. But they said, no, for 8 rand, you can increase your space. So what I'm trying to say is that in your business concept, you can use those specials and those offers to the public so that you can retain and help fund the business going forward. Let us not get stuck on our prices. There are times that you realize that we need money now, we need capital now. How do we raise that money? Indirectly, it's more like offering the public the shares. But what will be the value there? It's that they will remain loyal to your business going forward after having offered them a good discount. That is how that can work for you. And then on the two questions, which I think I'll just give one answer to both, is that your image is your currency in the business. And your voice is what creates invoices. Show up, speak up about your business. Never hide. Because sometimes the people that make noise on social media or anywhere else, they are not profitable. But the perception is that these businesses are doing well. And guess what? People are buying because they see your advert over and over again. People are buying because they see your face over and over again, talking about your business. I love how Nigerians do it. I love it. If you go to spaces today on X, all of them are content creators. And when you listen to them, you listen to the passion, you listen to how they project their businesses, you realize that they've created a voice for their brand. Don't hide behind the name of your company. Step up and represent your company. Become the face. Today we are all on X, all over the place. And Elon Musk is not afraid to even call Trump and say, I want to interview on X. Why? He's becoming the face of his brand. He's not shying away from that. And the brand value increase on daily basis. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe just to add to, you said you are Karabo. Yeah, maybe just to add to what you've just said, because discount might also just mean you're paying. There's this concept of freemium. I think we've used it here back in the days, by the way. There's this concept of freemium where you, for your market to test your product or service, you give them a taste of what it is. Because maybe they are not buying because they do not know. But that should be embedded in your business modeling or your business model. It cannot just be done in isolation to say, guys, test, and then there's no conversion of some sort. You need to be able to move the needle to say, you start from here. Once they have a taste of it, they must not want to leave they must want to use it. Actually, when am I signing up? Maybe just look at that in terms of your value proposition. I think there was a lady there who was talking about building a brand. I think there's building a brand, and there's maybe Vanilla will expand on this, and then there's marketing. Those are two different things for me. By the way, I also maybe followed the same route in terms of I wanted to make sure that I was building my personal brand so that when I then fully transitioned into entrepreneurship, the market knew me, people wanted to work with me, they trusted me. So yes, you can do that, but it's not really about the social media. It's about building a business of value and impact. I think my sister spoke about funding in the edtech space. I always say that do something that you love, that you know, because you'll be able to commit to it. It's linked to your purpose. Dr. Zima said that earlier on. It's linked to your purpose. So you are in cleaning now. Now you want to move into, you said, edtech or tech space. My question is, do you actually love that? Do you love the edtech space? Do you understand it? When you put together that proposal, would you understand the different elements of it? But, I mean, continue dreaming and pursuing that idea and making sure that you work on it. It might not be now, it might be in the future, but just make sure that you go into something that you really understand and you will be able to go and market it out there.
Okay, so I think I'll start with the with the solution in townships. It's also to expand freemium. I think the simplest way to put it is trial. You give people a trial period, make sure they use it, then you start charging from X amount of months or whatever it is. Or give them a free version, which has limited features. And then to get the other features, you build onto that. And think about it. Okay, by show of hands, who here knows of Netflix? It's very rhetorical. But who here remembers how they even got onto Netflix? You all went on a trial, didn't you? Then what happened? Then some people just went straight into it, right? But there were a number of you who were actually not sure, and you said, no, let me try it out. Guess what? You got hooked, didn't you? And that's not just for your business, it's across the board. There's a number of ways to skin it. Okay? For the lady here, the 26-year-old, the tech space is a very competitive space. Let us not downplay it. It's not to say you don't have to go into it. I'm not saying go into it, don't go into it. The important part is whatever offering that you're showing there, I'm not sure what the solution is, would you invest in it? All right? That's first and foremost. Secondly, if you gave that proposal to somebody who doesn't know enough about the tech space, would they be interested in actually utilizing that solution? Then it will boil down to say, okay, now you walked into the room and there's a potential investor. Does it really speak to and tick all the boxes that are needed for it to be invested? And I think you also alluded to the fact that okay, let me not assume, but it sounds like you are saying, just tell me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're saying there's a bias because you're young. Is that what you're feeling? All right. Do you know that Mark Zuckerberg was in his early 20s, if I remember correctly, when he founded Facebook? All right. That's a clear example to state that. I think I might stick my neck out and say the one area where age is really not a factor, it's probably the tech space. In fact, the younger you are, the more likely they're to listen to you because you're coming with innovation. So remember we spoke about mindset. This is where you start switching it. But in general, there's always biases across the board. Anything on anything. So that should never be your hurdle for you not to actually pursue it or even explore it at all. And for the lady there at the back, I get you, and I don't get you. I get you in the terms of building the brand. But those stories, those case studies, they will become your currency. They're actually already your currency because wherever you are operating from, it's already a currency because that's what you're utilizing as a reference point. Social media is literally, let's be clear, it's just a platform, guys. It's a platform where we actually shout out loud in different ways and forms, and we position our brands. It's a billboard which exists and is an extension of us. So maybe your sample set of people that you have currently are sufficient for you to run whatever you're doing currently. You will have to test it out in the broader market at some given point.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Vandel. I'll have to break you from there. Can we take two more questions from the floor?
Hi, everyone. You spoke of understanding finances and numbers. I just wanted to find out, you also spoke of the free platforms. Could you recommend the sites for a beginner?
Okay, let's take another question then. Recommend the size, then we'll come.
Good afternoon and to everyone and to the panelists. So my question is, looking at past experience on how things that have affected the businesses, like when you look at COVID, when you look at recession, things that affected the business back then, and as to what you know now, or the knowledge that you know now, how will you say you are able to stay ahead of the curve? Or how will you say you are able to forecast your business and prevent yourself from going through what we went through back in the days and to our thinking, to make sure that you don't repeat the same mistakes or you don't repeat the same loss that businesses have made? Thank you.
Okay, then we'll go to Rubeni, then we'll end with Dr. Bongani.
Okay, the question I want to ask is that majority of us in this room are BBA students. Should we wait until we're done with our course? Or should we go ahead and think about, say, okay, because this young man sitting there, Luyanda, he's been teaching us how to do things strategically, how to run a business, how to do a whole lot of things. Should we wait until we're done with our course before going to business? And to the beautiful lady in the white, I need to ask you, the two-pot system, if I have to take the money now and open a business, now wait guys, I'm serious, is it a good idea or is it a bad idea? Because that's what people are doing. They're cashing in on waiting for the first to cash in to go and open a business. So is it a good idea or a bad idea?
Okay, thank you. Then we'll answer those three questions. Then we'll answer them now. Then we'll allow Dr. Bongane to come in, and then Bongenkosi, and then we'll have other. Let's have the three questions being addressed. Then we'll go to Dr. Bongane here, and then Bongenkosi that side.
Thank you so much. All right, the first question with which platforms are available for resources? Nzumo Consulting. So my company hosts webinars every two weeks. Yeah. Currently, we have one happening next week with SARS, right? A SARS representative will be there showing you how you can submit your tax returns for your company. We've had series of them. So you can first check us out at Nzumo Consulting. We're on all social media platforms. But on Google, guys, you just ask. There's ChatGPT now. You ask, how do I read financials from a person who knows nothing about financials? They'll break it down to you very, very, very easily. So there is lots and lots of platforms, but check out Nzumo Consulting. And then quickly with the two-part system, you know what, ne? My philosophy when it comes to entrepreneurship is, one, we did say we are on a discussion panel for transitioning, right? It's not something just because now there's funds available, you're just gonna jump into starting a business. There is a process involved, or you will lose that money. You don't, there's so many things, you can't just decide, okay, there's now 100,000 sitting in my bank account, let me go start a nail business. Do you have the experience, do you have the passion, do you have the desire for it, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is two-part system. It also depends on your risk as a person. Are you a person who likes to take risks or you don't? Because there's other things you can do with that money that you can invest it in more safer options if taking risks for you is not for you. But just because there's money there doesn't mean that you must now go start a business, or else you lose that business because you do not have the backbone or have not transitioned enough for you to start it.
I'll take one more panelist, two more.
Yeah, sure. In terms of waiting, do we wait until we graduate? No, because if your idea is mature now, there's no need to wait. And in terms of using your two-pot system, again, it goes to, if you believe that your idea, this is the time to launch, yeah, you're jumping and you jump with both feet into the pool. Like it was said, sink or swim. But yeah, it has to do with the research and everything that you've done beforehand. And two-pot system would act as this self-financing. It's like you are investing in your business, you're investing in you. And in terms of COVID and how do you foresee or forecast future, yeah, it's things like I mentioned, the personal advisory board, the mastermind groups. There is certain sectors of society, it's actually standard for them to mingle together, playing this golf together, doing these things, and that's where you are able to put, two and two together something might come from your friend who is in banking and saying, we sing repossessions. And you might happen to be in another industry where you're able to link these things up. But being alone, it's dangerous because you are just in your echo chamber there, and you're getting stuck.
Yeah, when it comes to COVID, I've had my own personal experience with COVID, a very painful one. I lost a staff member, and then of course I had just hired 3 trainees who had finished their studies, interns, let me call it that way, and I had to cut their program immediately. And we lost business. I think there's a lot of lessons. In fact, business globally has not yet finished assessing the impact of COVID. Anybody that tells you that COVID is gone, we are done, they're losing great opportunities. Actually, I was talking to the airline business that is launching new legs between Johannesburg and many other cities. The business is just taking off now because the airline industry was very good in responding very quickly to the takeoff of tourism. But they haven't yet actually recovered, but they are really working hard on it. So those lessons are very, very valuable. Lessons from myself, there and there, I immediately knew that my staffing model was wrong in terms of the lessons. And also, I've learned very quickly that we have all taken lessons from COVID when it comes to digitalization. So I took a strategic decision that I'm going digital. And actually, I'm an avid social media person. If you go into social media, there's no way you won't find me. Why? Because I took a strategic decision that in terms of digital transformation for me, it's going to be entry through content marketing. I don't sell on social media. If you sell to me on social media, I cut you off because I don't use it for that. It's a space to use it for content marketing, podcasting, sharing knowledge, and interesting enough, that is less riskier because you are offering knowledge to somebody else that may like it, and in reality, you get business back. You might not be able to link it to it. It's almost like Coca-Cola advertising, and you say, but why do they advertise? Because they are no. Stop advertising or stop being present in the social media. Stop sharing knowledge and liking other people and doing what we call what do you call it when you share other people's work? Then you will see slowly how you get forgotten. So really digital transformation doesn't mean just bringing technology into space. It means changing your mindset and also reorganizing the structure of your business, which is what I'm doing now. That you cannot not be on social media. In fact, if you talk marketing today, you must hook the word digital marketing because that is the space where people are. So I learned valuable lessons from COVID, and it has helped me to change the model of my business and to really embrace digitalization. And I'm enjoying it big time. I'm not a technology person, but I'm a super user. I was telling them on a weekly basis, I deposit content there, and I get a lot of response. And therefore, please, let's not walk away from the lessons of COVID. There's a lot of benefits there. Should we wait until we are done? No. The journey of discovery is a lifelong journey. You start now. In fact, the sooner you start, the better. In fact, I'm glad you asked that question. It doesn't mean that you know where you are going to land. You know the good thing about taking the entrepreneurship route, if you later discover that that is not for you, it's easy to go back into corporate, right? You can go and look for a job, and many people actually decided that, no, this is not for me. They go back in. So you cannot not stop exploring yourself. In fact, I like David Barre's model of 7 levels of consciousness. I don't know whether you know that. At what level of consciousness are you in terms of your life purpose? And this? So as you grow up that ladder, you start actually rediscovering quite a number of things. I'm always asking myself every now and then, when I critique myself and I'm saying, was I just being below the line because things were bad? If I'm below the line, how do I lift myself above the line? So self-motivation, but we cannot live passive life. Things are changing very, very fast. extremely very fast. And the lady who asked about tech, you should not actually be discouraged. The good thing about this tech, including the guy about the township, it's got no borders. You are not limited to South African boundary. If South Africans are not taking up your technology, and you say that means there's no market, that you have not understood that technology has removed borders. You are not looking enough. Yeah? Go beyond and you realize there are a lot of people who are looking for innovation out of South Africa. And in fact, Africa is happening big time. We just don't see it. Because maybe we are not in other countries of the continent. Maybe we should do more of that. And I'm glad that the university is reaching out to Kenya and all those others. There's a lot of stuff happening there. Thank you very much.
Good day. My name is Dr. Bongani Nkala. I'm an academic by profession, but I'm also a business owner of Science Academy. We've been in operation for 9 years, based in KZN and in Durban in particular. Our business model is more to training STEM subjects in rural schools. We base on funding from people that can fund our project. It could be companies or businesses. We want to sort of transit into a company, because now it's an NPO. I've heard you talking about a transition from NPO to a company. We would love to find out how to go about that, because NPO have got limitations. Yeah. Well, the money they give, you need to actually make sure it's used for that purpose. You're unable to drive a Jaguar with that money.
Well,
Good afternoon, everyone. I just had a question for the lady. What are some of the key strategies that you used to gain your first client, moving from being a profession to be an entrepreneur? And then for Mr. Tima, I just have a question for you to ask. What would be the difference between getting a strategist and a business coach?
Good morning. My name is Crystal. I'm a Regenesis student. So as Africans, we're always told not to share our business ideas because someone might steal it. But the business model that I have, I don't think it has been done yet. I want to go into the private education space in rural areas where I want to teach kids to learn the skills that they could get when they come to this side of the world. So I don't know how to go about that, but then who do I tell?
okay. I'm holding the mic, so I'll start. But also it will be a privilege to answer the doctor's question. Doc, I don't know if you're aware that there are some companies are NPOs in their status internationally. Yes. Which are operating with that license. You look at Discovery Health. Actually, Discovery has an obligation to take only admin fee as part of their revenue. Okay? So what's happening is, in as much as they may portray as a PTY, but then there's an obligation for them to operate within certain parameters. But in that space, they created their own PTYs, your vitality, your all this other stuff, right? The same with your business. Concept is still there, NPO, but you can create vehicles that will become consulting company within your business, through which you'll be able to bring in revenue, to even boost your NPC, to even capacitate your NPC as a beneficiary of your operations without converting your company. That's how it can be. Because you still need section of your business where you will develop materials for other companies that are going to work in the space. My sister, Doc will not even expose your idea. He understands ethics. Meet with him and share the ideas with him, please, on how you can establish yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. There was a question for Mr. Sam and then for Ms. Ms. Pam.
That's true. There's free consulting. Yeah. Just to add to the NPO fund, I have that model. I told that we started 27 years ago as an NGO. And when we then established a commercial, that was when I left corporate because I needed to survive. But we have an NPO where all our coaches that we deploy on our commercial are a member. You have to be a member of our NPO before you can become an associate of our commercial. But the reason why we do that is because as coaches, we need to be on a continuous development learning. I don't want to go and look for coaches when I get a contract, because then the risk for your business is too high. All the coaches are our members. We meet every week. We have continuous development. So they help each other. The good thing is that I chose to use the same brand, Comeza. However, you have to be disciplined and understand that the NPO is governed differently to the commercial. It's because its own standalone management committees or boards. It's not, you don't consolidate it into the commercial because then you're against the law. So, of course, it's not driven by a profit. But in terms of the collaboration and sharing the brand, it's fine. Comeza is the brand that I've created, I've built, is known. So you see Comeza Friends and Supporters Club, NPO, and of course Comeza GOC International Pty Limited. Clear distinction. Don't shy away from using that strength. I think a company called PSI, you know PSI? PSI.org, they are into health. They're just new in South Africa. They are global, one of the big global health NPO that have introduced PTY Limited that is owned by that NGO. But they're clearly distinct, and they use the same brand, and they are not colluding with any act. I'm just using this example because I remember it offhand. Do you need a strategist and business coach? Fortunately, I'm both. You need both. It depends on where the business is in its life cycle. So if you hire me to coach you as a CEO of a company together with your exco, and in the first chemistry session I realized that you actually don't have strategy. Your actions are not directed by any strategy. It will be important for me as a coach to make you realize that you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve because everything you do is guided by your strategies. Therefore, I could actually either do it or recommend other person do it. I'm a facilitator of Blue Ocean Strategy, which is really very interesting new phenomena in the strategy development. And I find it quite very helpful, especially those who are looking for the unique market within existing market. You know, so that is really my answer there. You will need coach whether you are formulating strategy or are implementing strategy or are reviewing strategy. In all value processes or process of your company, you need a coach. But it depends what you want the coach to coach you on. I do coach executives on strategy implementation or strategy formulation. In that role, I won't be a facilitator because it's a conflict between facilitation and coaching. I'll stay on as a coach and get my other colleagues to facilitate the strategy or vice versa. You definitely need both. It's a question of timing. And in fact, you can't run a business without a strategy anyway. And coaching a company that has got no strategy, you are irresponsible as a coach because where are you leading them to? In terms of the private education, you are in another gold mine. Let me tell you. And I'm talking from experience. I mean, if you go and you see on my profile, I'm employed by toyou.com, which is sport, get smarter. The revolution in terms of online campus, and I think your university probably is also looking at those, that it's no longer a competition between face-to-face and online, it is both. And most of the biggest uptake on the private, on education online is private education. So I think, and I'm glad you're mentioning rural, Because we're not going to be building more bricks and mortar in the rural areas. What we need to sort out as a country is access to technology, access to Wi-Fi, make it a public good. You will turn this country like this. But you will still need facilitators. And interesting enough, now you need facilitators who are familiar with technology. You know, if I go on my online campus, I don't see my students physically. And I must be able to manipulate that online, mark the scripts, assign points, and then give them remarks, and then release the results. By the way, actually, the course I work with is the University of Cape Town, 6 weeks executive education course. It's popular. Why? Because it's accessible by people from all over the world. Now, why can't we do it as a private sector? Anybody who tells us that private education is going to go away is lying. It's not going to happen. We must just find a blend between public education and private education and serve the purpose of our empowerment of our people. Don't feel shy about it. In fact, come to my rural Skukuneland because I think we need it. We don't have university there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam. I will allow Ms. Pam then to address the question that was posed to her. Then we'll take last round of questions. Before we do that, there are lost keys. Somebody might have lost their keys. Okay, I'll allow Ms. Pam then to address the question that was posed to her. Then we'll take last round of questions, and then we can conclude our discussion.
Sure, thank you for that question. There's lots of strategies of getting clients, and if we were to go into all of them, Rihanna would kick us out of Regenesis. So I'll just pick on 2 that have worked for me. The first one is partnering with other like-minded and similar businesses that already have, for example, the database. So I'll give you an example. Sam is a coach, is a business coach. So chances are he's got clients that he's coaching that might need tech services. Vanele is in marketing. So when he's done marketing, he's already got people he's working with who might need my services. So why don't I get into a relationship with them? Are you with me? So you're using them for the platforms that they've already had, that they've built to service their clients. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I was once sitting where you guys are sitting, and a panelist said that one of the biggest problems with business owners is they are their best kept secret. Nobody knows them. And then they are wondering, why don't I get business? So now what I do is I shout about my brand so that people know about me. How I got to be sitting here was because of social media. I market myself every single day. As a business owner, one of my biggest roles is to bring in business. And the only way people are gonna know about my brand and what I do is when I am everywhere. And when you do that, the opportunities that come to you are bigger than you could have ever expected. Just yesterday, and I'm not exaggerating, guys, I had a camera crew following me because I am gonna be on business TV. The only reason why business TV reached out to me is because they saw my social media platform. I don't know how many doors that's gonna happen, that's gonna open for me. And that's because I stood up and I said, I am here, this is what I do. And how I'm different from many other accountants is A, B, and C. I am investing in your business and I want to see it grow. If nobody knows about you, nobody's gonna buy from you, and therefore you're not gonna get clients. So do not be afraid to put yourself out there. It's not easy, but you do it because you said you wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pam. I'll just take 2 questions. I'll give you 30 seconds for that to be answered. I'll take 1 here and take 1 at the back. 30 seconds on your question. 30 seconds from the panelist members to answer it, and then we can conclude.
Sanmanani, good morning. My name is Zintle Kasa. I am a founder of Itabela House. We are a self-catering holiday home situated in Kensington. We were a 3-star graded, entity, but we are currently doing upgrades now to become a 5-star. But I do want to know, as a business owner, if you're doing something you love and passionate about, over and above coaching, over and above digital marketing, over and above branding and everything, do I still need to do a course, some kind of business course, or am I good doing what I love?
Thank you. One last question, Karawet.
My name is Blessing, and I've got a real estate business. It's been running for about 5 years now. The question I have for the panel, in my industry where I am, I'm the only female black agency. And you find that a lot of people, when they come to you as a black business owner, they want free advice, discounts, they negotiate on commission. And I just want to ask our panelists, when you started, did you have such kind of issues? When I really started, because I started just before COVID, just like what everyone is saying. So in the first place, I ended up, reduce your commission from 10%. You reduce it because you want those first clients. But now I've grown and I'm known. There's people still want those discounts and they still want free advice. So now I say, no, I charge for consultation. Is that okay? Have the panelists ever faced that before? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. One last question, 30 seconds. 30 seconds to the...
Hello, everyone. My name is Palesa, a fellow grade 11 high school learner at Glenoston High School, doing commercial subjects, which is business studies, accounting, and economics. So my question today would be, is it advisable for someone, for example, a potential uni student, to start an online business, for example, do something like drop shipping, which is selling, like for example, right, we have a supplier and you are like basically the third person who is going to be selling that product for obviously profits and stuff. So is it advisable for a fellow uni, a potential uni student to be doing such businesses, and maybe after going into like a bigger company, because I'm personally into skincare, so going into like an international company, skincare company, like my motivation is a company called Isabella Garcia. It is an international skincare company. So doing something like that after uni, is it advisable? Like, I don't know if you guys get what I'm trying to say, but like, yeah.
One address, one each question, then
Am I getting 30 seconds or one person to...
30 seconds to address one question.
holistically. To the young lady, the answer is definitely a yes. Start now. And look into influencer marketing and you will shine. Also here, the question about studying something even though you're running a business, the answer is yes. I actually took up a course called Creative Thinking, and yet I run my full-on shop. So the answer is yes, you never stop learning. And then for the lady, the answer is yes, they used to ask, but when you position yourself well in your brand, just say no. We are allowed to fire clients. I've done it multiple times. You can do that. Then that's not your customer.
Thank you so much. I will then ask Ms. Patience to then come and close our event for us. I know there are more questions, but we can't get all of them. Ms. Patience Nyoni, if you can then close for us, then we'll ask Karabo then to gift our guest with something special that we have for them. Ms. Patience Nyoni, do you want to close? Okay. Ms. Blessing, you can come.
Okay, thank you so much. I will be as short and quick as possible. Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of the students of Regenesis, we just want to say thank you so much to the school. We want to say thank you for our head, Ms. Nyoni. And we want to say thank you so much to all our guests. We are full. We are so full. We just want to say thank you for accepting to impart us with such powerful words and powerful wisdom. You are a bank of knowledge. And whatever you have invested in us, we truly appreciate. On behalf of the students, the keynotes that we had from Dr. Tsima, he said to us, we must have coaches. coaches are very important. And he says entrepreneurship is a process started virtually, was said by Mr. Derek, started virtually in your mind, be open with your organization. And then we also had that plan in your mind first. And he also said, Mr. Derek, like a game of chess, calculate every move. Mr. Sabelo also said it's very important to be compliant, understand the business landscape, be stingy, save. And we had Mr. Vanelli who said marketing gives business a soul, be in it to win. We are also told that we should be attentive in the industry. And Mr. Bennett said so many times, stay away from funding. It will swallow you and finish you. Ms. Pamela says transition is a process, know your numbers. Test your idea before you resign. All the other snippets we've got were manage your credit profile. Are you going to make money from your business? You must ask yourself those questions. Finances are the biggest risk. And they say that consider collaboration. Be disciplined, reinvest the money, marry out of community of property. Confidentiality is very important. And Mr. Derek said something so profound. Feed your soul, your spirit. Do something about your spirit. Keep praying. And Ma'am Pamela also said meditation is very important. She does it before she leaves the house. She tries to do that every day. We were also told that challenges are there. Face your challenges, don't run away from them. Let them not affect your business. We were also told that personal advisory board by Mr. Bennett have a support system. Ms. Pam says, you have your business. Mental health is important, and you need it for you to continue running your business. So we just want to say thank you so much for empowering us. We are empowered, and we are going out there marching forward. Just to let you know, as class reps, we've got our fellows here. Please stand up. Bongani, please stand up, just wave your hands. I and the class mentors, many of them could not come because they stay far. We are class reps. Our work that we do at Regenesis, we volunteer to be class reps. We teach our fellow students whatever that they didn't get. The new students, we teach them to be able to access the portal, whatever questions they have about assignments. We are working 24/7. Some of them are missing their deadline. They are actually sending me messages during this conference. They want to know if our portal have MS Word. It does not have. So that's the job of us mentors and class reps, and we are proud of Regenesis. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Ms. Nyoni, do you want to close for us? Thank you, Ms. Blessing.
Thank you very much, managers, for coming. But a special thank you to our panelists. Let's just clap a round of applause to our panelists. How many of you managers are brave enough and empowered to start their own businesses? How many of you guys? Okay, so a special thank you to our panelists. We are really, really privileged to have you as Regenesis. We have really learned a lot from you panelists. Even myself, I have learned a lot. The passion, the drive, the purpose. I cannot take away anything from what was presented. So guys, it's a continuous journey of learning. We must be open-minded and be willing to learn. And we must be willing also to go into networking. It's now about networking. We have learned about how do we start a business. We need to have a vision. We need to have an idea. We need to conceptualize, but we need the support. We have learned about our coaches here. They are here to support us. Who is there to support you? Who is there to believe in your business idea? But you need to also start believing in yourself. What skills do you have? As Regenesis Business School, we are teaching you guys to be business acumen. So this is the right place, the privilege that you have for you to learn a lot about business management. And the industry has come on board today to help us with the application of the theory and concepts that you are learning at Regenesis. We have also gathered about funding. That is the biggest question. And also, our panelists were really, they were really forthcoming in sharing their experiences to say it's not just that walk in a park. You'd find that there are challenges, there are hurdles that they face, but what made them to make it? It's perseverance, the agility. How are you embracing technology? It was so, fascinating to hear our coach talking about how he had to strategically transition his thinking for him to align himself also to technology. Are we still in that space where we are making excuses? Guys, we cannot continue to make excuses. We need to stand up. We need to take ownership. And these are some of our values as the undergraduate business school. To say you need to be ethical. You need to take ownership of each and everything that you are doing. So we have learned quite a lot. And we are looking forward, guys, to hear those successful stories that you have been brave enough to start from somewhere. Those who are already in business or have got business ideas, we want them to be pushed forward to the next level. As Regenesis education, like I indicated, it's not just another graduate with another qualification. We are looking at holistic development. We are looking at launching graduates that are going to contribute to the economy of South Africa. How are you going to contribute? Just being an employee or an employer? So we are looking forward to both. We are looking forward to job creators. So thank you very much. To our moderator, thank you very much. To our esteemed Regenesis team, a special thank you. Karabo and all the marketing department, we are forever indebted. Thank you so much for the runarounds. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Patience. With that being said, with the powers vested in me, I would like us to remain for the next 5 minutes. No, I'm joking. I want them to spend this event. Thank you so much, colleagues, for attending. We truly appreciate it. Drive safe. Thank you. Okay, there's a canteen for